You are listening to Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast, a podcast where we believe wrestling is a buffet and there's something there for everyone. Make sure you're following us on all social media such as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under Two Heels and a Face. That's number 2 Heels and a Face. Make sure you check out our website, twoheelsandaface.com.
Era, 2 Heels and a Face.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Two Heels and a Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, there's actually an episode. It's audio. Hello, check, 1, 2. This is us. You can still.
We are live, dusting off the mics.
We're creating audio content for the first time since maybe November 12th. It is now December 21st. So we have published some things in between them. We did help to get a press release out for Warrior Wrestling 26. And we posted an article getting to know Mike Hartenbauer on twoheelsandaface.com, which if you haven't read it, excuse me, I said listen to it, but it's all written. And then also we published another article too, which I think we can probably talk about in the middle of this episode on there as well. We've been doing a little writing, a little creative writing. Chris, we're going to do the best we can to just kind of touch on 2022, at least from what we've seen. We have some people joining us today as well in certain time slots. But first, you have a new setup, and why is that?
I am now residing no longer in Midlothian. I'm further south now, but not too far south. I'm in Oak Forest. I moved. I got settled in. That took. It was partially a little bit why we kind of had a little bit of a break. I just didn't have much time to move in, work, kids. I gotta say, moving with little ones, it's tough, man. Like, just because when you move, you have a bunch of stuff in boxes and stuff, and like the kids still want your attention. Like that was one thing I hadn't done. I hadn't moved with kids, and that was tough. But it's all good now. We've been here for a couple of weeks. And like I said earlier, dusting off the mics here and getting back in the groove of recording, and now we're going live. So
yeah, we're trying to we have a little bit of representation from some promotions, some representatives. I'm texting one right now. This is going to be a little off the cuff. I don't know. She might be able to swing it, so we'll see. We'll see if we can get her. But yeah, I'm really happy for you. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why we kind of, if you want to call it a hiatus, I don't think we need to. I wanted to let everyone know, I don't think we need to apologize, right? Because life, that's what I put it, like life, moving plus selling a house. Congrats to you. Let's give it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, plus 3 kids. My only excuse is that my brain is screwed up and I was feeling a little bit of seasonal depression plus laziness. So I think your excuses are a little bit better than mine. What do you think?
It is what it is. I mean, none is better than the other, and it's cool. Like I think last time we recorded, you're like, yeah, it's coming to that time of the year where seasonal depression might kick in, and it's like, well, we got to do what we got to do. Like, if because I also don't want to consider it a break or a hiatus.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like the stuff that's been put out in twoheelsandaface.com, shameless plug, number 2 heelsandaface.com. There's some, it's a sort of a creative outlet there, to kind of keep up with wrestling. And I think there was also, I don't know if you mentioned that one, but the Xavier Sky, getting to know Xavier Sky.
Getting to know Xavier Sky is on twoheelsandaface.com. That was a late October. So okay. We had that as well. Mm-hmm. And then our last audio was with Dan Perch, which was a really good interview on November 12th, I think. Yeah. So, we've been trying. I mean, we're coming up on 6 years doing this, 5 years. We've been doing it for 5 years. So it was March going to be 6. And we've really been pretty consistent. And I think that's why we've built a loyal following, like people who I think we can confidently say people who attend these shows listen to the podcast, and I don't ever know if it will grow to be more than that. Nor do I think that you and me really care that much, because I think we're happy doing what we do. And if there is any aspirations, I'm sure we'll communicate that like beyond kind of. But we just want to produce good stories. I think good content.
Yep. Yeah, and this whole thing started, right? Like let's highlight the stuff that we go attend, watch, and not stretch ourselves and try to cover everything that's under the sun, because you can't do that. At least I don't think you can, unless it's your full-time job. So, and we don't want this to feel like a job either.
No, exactly. I am sending the link to join. Link to join to email now for our first person. And we did get the go ahead from someone who's involved in freelance wrestling if we wanted to stream a match during this live stream. I just did finish watching Mike Speedball Bailey versus Brian Keith. And it is definitely an eye opener of a match.
Okay.
It is definitely worth your time. I know that when that match just took place recently, at like the last freelance show, the Balls of Fury one, and boy did that deliver. So there's, we could probably maybe talk about that a little bit more in the middle segment of the show if we can't get a freelance representative to join. We've tried. We reached out to Nick, we reached out to James. We reached out to a couple wrestlers as well, said they were down. And we all people are welcome to join this. I think if you were to shoot us a DM and you had something to say kind of on the year, you're more than willing to hop in. But the people who we did get messages from are wrestlers, and we want to have them on to do their own episodes like in early in 2023, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2023 is going to look a little bit more consistent, I think, based on, the conversations that Charlie and I have had. We're getting back on the schedule now that, things are settling in on our end. At least I hope so on mine. It should be fun. There's lots to look forward to in 2023.
Our commitment to the Twos and Face listeners is, what did we say? We said at least 2 audio recordings per month, right?
Correct.
I'm putting this out there because you have to manifest these things, speak them.
Bi-weekly episodes after being weekly episodes for so long. I think committing to a bi-weekly cadence.
I think bi-weekly is a little bit more realistic for us.
Yeah.
Usually and that's kind of what we've done this year. Usually what we do is we will record and publish something. Then the week after, we kind of just, make little clips of it. Audiograms, if you will, put them on Instagram. We just continually promote. So the listeners get that second week, then to really, to really dive into that episode if they missed it the first time. And then let's say the third week of the month, we'll try to produce something new. So we're going for bi-weekly. We're going for at least 2 audio episodes a month. One of them is going to be show preview recap-y style, so we'll watch some wrestling as well. Obviously, if we're not there, we try to watch as well. There's evidence of it. I just put some evidence of it on our Instagram story, and the other will be like very wrestler interview focused. So those two episodes per month, and then we'll try to do 1 written article per month, and the blog, like a written blog, basically post. So that could be the written interviews that we've been doing, the getting to know interviews, which are not like, these have been going on for a while before Twos and a Face as well, but I think they're nice, easy reads, and you do get to learn something about something really quick. It's like a quick hitter. Or it just might be a little bit more creative writing that we've done. With while we wait for our guests to come, I did send them the link. So
we actually I see him in the waiting room.
Oh, okay. He's in the waiting room.
Yeah. So let's not waste any time and bring him on. It's been a while. Let's welcome Principal Steve.
Hello, gentlemen.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just finishing a gold chocolate Hanukkah coin. How are you guys doing?
We're great. It's been too long.
I know. I feel like I don't have anything to cheers with. All I have is chocolate. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in years. How are you?
I'm good, and that's no one's fault. You know, obviously we went in a little different direction this year. We tried to do a little bit more buffet line style, a little less show heavy.
Sure.
And I think we've kept in touch, but yeah, it's like you bumped into an old friend, you knew in high school or something like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The friend that you liked, not the person that you hated in high school.
Oh, great. This guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember that class. You were a dick.
Dude, Steve, just catch us up. 2022 is kind of what we're recapping. You only got a 20-minute time slot. Maybe we can go a little over.
Take a little bit over. That's fine.
Yeah, because we don't. Our middle representative. We're still kind of searching for one, but like this year, you guys were all over the place. It was almost like a domestic tour in a sense. Like where are you guys going this year?
Yeah, so we at the end of 2021, a couple of big things happened. Number one, we decided we're going to throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall in 2022 and see what sticks as far as touring and trying different stuff and doing different stuff. And also, we just kind of had fall into our lap. Arguably the greatest wrestler on planet Earth, Will Ospreay, is the Warrior Wrestling Champion. And so with Will, with our title, we kind of took it all over. We went to South Bend, Indiana twice. We went to Indianapolis. We went to Grand Rapids. We went to St. Louis. We brought it back to Chicago, to the city of Chicago proper, across the street from the United Center, before Forbidden Door. So we were kind of all over. And it's been a crazy, crazy year. In 2023, we are going to go back to at least some of those cities that we visited before. We're definitely going back to South Bend in about a month.
Right.
We are going to go back to Grand Rapids in March 25th. That's not been announced yet, but news dropping here on the podcast. And then we're looking at maybe going back to Indianapolis in May as well. So yeah, we've tried to expand and do a little bit outside of our comfort zone. We were very happy with what we were doing at Marion for years, and we just wanted to try something a little bit different. There you go. You got it from the website. Cool.
I did not know that Chris prepared graphics. I am
Look at that.
I am as shocked as you are. Yeah. So
dusting off the,
you are the second person besides me who reads our website.
No, I go there for updates. So I want to dive deeper though into the why challenge yourself, because I think you guys had a notable thing and were, I think, well established, and you got there like pretty quickly. Why step out of that comfort zone though? Like, is it just something you and Eric always want to do, or what?
A couple of things. Number one, I think we're masochistic and have ADHD, right? So I want to make it harder for ourselves and try something different. So I think that's the basis of it. I think number two is we wanted to do more shows, and we also didn't want to oversaturate the Chicago market, right?
Okay.
Like one of the things when we came on the scene 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, is that it was like, oh, well, there's already so many great promotions on the scene. It's like, yeah, but we were only going to run a couple of shows a year. And we did. And then when we wanted to run more shows a year, we didn't want to oversaturate it, right? We don't want to be competing with Freelance, AAW, and Freelance Underground and Gali and Black Label all the time. So we were only at Chicago a couple of times this year. The other thing, too, is that I really feel like there are a ton of underserved wrestling markets. And I use South Bend as the example for this all the time.
Yeah.
The WWF back in the day used to come to South Bend and play in the basketball arena at Notre Dame. Hogan was there, Warrior was there, Brett and Sean were there. And then WWF cut a bunch of the smaller cities off of its tours. AEW only runs basically one show a week, and they mostly go to major cities. So cities like Grand Rapids, like South Bend, they tend to not get great wrestling. I mean, and no, there are smaller independent promotions that run, and they're awesome for what they are locally, but they tend to not see Will Ospreay, right? Like Will Ospreay's never been to South Bend. And so our thought was, A, we can bring that to them, and B, they would appreciate it. And they did, right? Like, and so that was part of it too. So it's a little bit, we were bored, we were, itching a little bit. We didn't want to oversaturate our own market. A little bit, we wanted to go to these other markets, and a little bit, we just wanted to try it and see, right? And we learned some things along the way of what cities worked, of what promotional tactics work, what type of venues work. So anyway, we did it. We liked it. We're going to figure out a version of it for the future.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like you might optimize it a little bit too. Some places you might return to, some places you might not. Were there any like moments of regret where it's just like, oh dang, obviously when you challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone, there's always that like uncertainty and like, oh dang, should we have done this? Did you feel any of that? Were there bumps along the way?
No, honestly, even things, even there were bumps along the way, but we don't regret them, right? Because you try different stuff and you figure out what works. When we booked the show in Indianapolis, a whole bunch of people told me, they're like, Indianapolis isn't a wrestling town. This is a terrible decision. And we sold out the venue that we were in, McGowan Hall. We had 415 people. I think it like held like 375 by fire code, but then we put about 415 people in there. And the people were white hot all night long. Right. So sometimes you just got to try it and see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. I remember seeing, it's like episode 3 or 4 of Two Heels and a Face. So this is now 5 years ago. Which is, I mean, congrats on your, how old did you say you were?
So we started turn of the year in 2018. So we're finishing our 4th year. This will be our 5th year in 2023.
Okay. Well, congrats on that. I think we're going to maybe our 6th year in March, would have been 6 years. And like episode 3 or 4 is like a review. I went to NXT, like Indianapolis. It was some kind of theater. It was like Persian or Egyptian, like the name of it is Persian or Egyptian or something. Okay. But yeah, I don't know if you've looked at that venue or not at all. But it was not that I seek emails from this individual, but I got like a random, I think because Meltzer was like getting attendance from all these random like NXT live events, because that's what he reports on. And for some reason, I like volunteered myself, and he shot me an email about like what the attendance was, and I had to. It was I don't know why I remember this. And then I kind of like ballparked it and sent it back to him, and I think it was used, but I never got a thank you email. So yeah. But yes, fun town.
Let's just while you were describing that, Steve, I mean, did you ever like stop and think like, Will Ospreay is going to South Bend? Like just that sentence. I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's like, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Super cool. Super cool that you guys made it happen though. Like, but yeah, well, that was insane.
Yeah, and they loved it. And honestly, too, there's the old cliche, never meet your heroes. Well, Will Ospreay was phenomenal. So, I mean, just truth be told, full curtain pulled back. Eric and I are huge Will Ospreay marks in the sense of like, we think he's phenomenal, right? We think he can do no wrong and walks on water. And when we were, in 2017, when there was an ROH New Japan show at the Odeon in Villa Park, and we were in our seats, and like Ospreay came out to watch part of the show, like 10 feet away from each other. I remember Eric like elbowing me and be like, "There's Will Ospreay." And then flash forward like 4 years later, and like we're road tripping with him from Chicago to South Bend multiple times a year. He and Eric are stopping for milkshakes at the rest stop. He goes into his first American Walmart, like all of these things that are like, what is life? You know what I mean? So we never would have imagined this ever.
Well, I just imagine you're at a Walmart in South Bend or something, and you're the greeter, right? And Will Ospreay comes walking through the door.
Yeah,
that would be an experience. And then sometimes those greeters are polite, like someone's grandma, so she might not know, but you're stocking a shelf and you see you're stocking a shelf of a Will Ospreay toy and you see Will Ospreay. That would be some Twilight Zone stuff going on right there.
And because I don't know how much time we really have with you here, Steve, I'm just gonna jump right into it because we talked Will Ospreay, but then we've always been talking. When Sam Adonis is synonymous in my head with Warrior Wrestling, right? Yeah. We've always talked about his trajectory. He is facing everybody under the sun and proving himself, and he's a staple. Yeah. Now you have Vikingo, Hijo de Vikingo.
Yeah,
I at South Bend, right? Again, how did this happen? Please give me just a little bit of that.
There are great talents that you have your eye on for forever. And it's not like we were the only people in the world to know Vikingo was amazing, right? Like everybody who watches any AAA footage knows that. And we've been bugging about getting Vikingo for probably 3 years. And it was always just a matter of visa and doing it properly for him. And the Lucha Libre agency through Masked Republic set something up and got all of this going. And he is now going to be available in the United States. And we were very honored because they're being very discerning with where he takes bookings, right? So Jimmy's Wrestling Shack down the street, even if they put all the pennies together, their AAA is not booking Vikingo on shows like that. So it's Defy, it's PWG, and Warrior Wrestling so far. And here's some news for you guys as well. Regardless of the outcome of this match, whether he wins the Warrior Lucha title or Sam wins the AAA Mega title, Vikingo will be with us for numerous shows this spring. And that's part of the deal that we made with AAA and Master Public. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things we just kept asking and poking for years. And then once it became available and became real, we were in line. Similar to Speedball Mike Bailey. We've been fans of Mike Bailey since 2015. And we literally had like an internal countdown to whenever his ban on coming into the United States ended. And then once he got his Impact contract and got his working visa, we had been talking to Speedball for years, and it was just off to the races.
Yeah, I really like that and I believe this year. Was it this year that you introduced that specific title, the Lucha one?
June of 21. June of 21.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember this year was the year Adonis won it, though, correct?
Yes. Correct.
And that's great. I mean, I feel like obviously, and we'll talk about, we're reminiscing a little bit here. 5 years ago, maybe Charlie would have been like, is Sam Adonis really a luchador, though? And Chris wisened me up and said it's really just the style and not necessarily the person, or does the person wear a mask, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously a very, very worthy title holder. And some people listening or if they're watching stream might not give a shit, but I'm working on I don't know if you remember last year we did like a Chicago's Top 25 article. Do you recall that?
Yes.
We're doing it. Going to try to make it a thing. Doing another one. I put Adonis on here, obviously. I put him at 10. Ooh. I had and obviously there's different things that go into this. I think there's to break it down a little bit is just like complete out of the promotions that we follow, complete matches wrestled. And then also, like, are you a title holder? You get a little bit more points for that. Are you in important matches for the company, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah. I think he might have been a little higher last year, but I also did, I think I would, and my personal bias is in this a little bit as well.
Sure.
So I got him at 10. I don't know if that, obviously, once the full list comes out, I think people, if you're pissed at us, Steve, tweet us. Seriously, because I want to get people. The point of this is so people talk about it. I don't give a shit if you're mad or happy, right? Like, and it's an opinion article. Your opinions, they're opinions. They're not facts. You can have one as well. We did have, though, 8. I had 8. I had Casey Navarro. Okay. And I need you to just completely catch me up to speed from start to finish on Casey Navarro. I believe that he is almost like sneakily stole the title, or like wasn't someone came in after a match, right? Like, can you catch me up on like the year he's had?
Yeah, so he won back in 21. He won our Contenders Medallion, which is basically like Money in the Bank, but for Warrior Wrestling. Yeah. And he carried that. He had a massive losing streak after winning that. He lost to Rocky Romero. He lost to Alex Shelley. He lost. There's one I'm missing in there. And then he started racking up some wins with Brian Cage as his mentor. Then he and Cage had a little bit of a falling out. He fought Brian Cage in Grand Rapids. And then later that night, he cashed in the medallion to add himself to the War of Attrition match, which had come down to Ospreay and Pillman. He added himself to the match, and with Cage's help, he won the title. So he finally won the title, but it wasn't on his own or of his own accord. Then a week later in Chicago, the afternoon of Forbidden Door, he had to defend it against Brian Pillman, and he won with a low blow. And then in October, he had to defend it against Trey Miguel, and he won it when Frank the Clown and his goons interfered, and KC joined Frank the Clown's FTC LLC. So Casey finally made it to the top of the mountain, but he didn't do it honorably, and he hasn't done anything honorably since. And so now he's aligned himself with Frank as Frank's stable continues to grow bigger and bigger. Yeah. So he's a guy that we had earmarked from the start, from the time he joined us as a future star, and he made it there, and then he took a terrible left turn.
Yeah. Do you feel how did you, the principal, the rule, you're telling people to follow rules daily? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think disappointed, right? Like, this is a guy who we think has all the talent in the world and think could earn it, and he doesn't need all of these jamokes.
Yeah, go back, Chris. Chris, how are you so prepared for what I'm saying? Are you just where are you pulling this from? I don't understand. We didn't speak about this at
Look,
all.
I'm on a good streak right now. Just let it
go. I'm so amazed and confused at the same time.
Just let it happen.
Steve, look at Steve, these are good. Look, these are honorable students that have turned bad. Like Storm Grayson although he's from Naperville, good human. The Bang, yes, that's
the Bang brothers are fighting. The Bang brothers are not associated with these yahoos. It's Frank the Clown, Storm Grayson, Trevor Outlaw, Calvin Tankman, and now Casey Navarro.
Calvin Tankman. Okay, so it seems like good guys gone bad though. Like they're being poisoned.
Yeah, that's what happens with Frank the Clown, right? It's like a poisoned coffee bean. You drop him in a pot, he turns the whole pot brown.
Exactly. I mean, he's building a diverse stable. There's a lot of different people in it. Rate the name FTC LLC though on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being
I think it's a -4. I think it's -4. Yeah. Just a bunch of letters he threw together. Whatever. He's a clown.
Yeah. That's great. I think we got you for another 4 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure, I can do a few more. That's fine. And for anybody watching or listening, you're like, what the hell does he? I have a newborn, and we have bath time and bedtime coming up. So as anybody with a newborn can tell you, you don't mess with those things.
Congrats. I don't know if congrats.
Yes,
I don't know
congrats. We haven't had a chance to say that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I guess you got 4 minutes to your entire year. Like, what are some of the most? You can give me 8. What are some of them? What sticks? Like, what's
your highlight?
What are the highlights? It's a little bit like, reminiscing end of year. It's a little cliche, but like when you look back at this year, like what are some things that stick out to you? Like,
it's a great question because honestly, I'm such a person that is so wired with what's next that I don't do a lot of reflecting. So I like it when I'm forced to because it makes
We're forcing you.
Yeah. When we were in Grand Rapids, Michigan, we were running in this giant arena that we were in like 1/10 of, right? But it was called the Deltaplex, and Ring of Honor ran there a few times. And at one point, mid-show, Jeff Cobb pulled me aside. He goes, "You know, you guys outdrew Ring of Honor in this building, right?" I was like, "No." He goes, "Significantly." And I was like, "Oh wow, like that's kind of crazy, right?" Like then it just hits you. And that was the night that Casey won the title from Will. So that was the end of Will's 6-month arc with our title. And Eric and I were sitting there watching that whole thing unfold, and we were like, wow, again, Will Ospreay was just the Warrior Wrestling champion for 6 months. It's crazy. Loved going to South Bend. Like I said, loved going to Indy. Loved taking it down to St. Louis and just doing what we do in front of other people. Because I think part of it, too, is the sense of like, well, we've done this for our crowd over and over again. Could it work for somebody else? Or is it just the people that know us and like us as a promotion? And seeing, people who had followed us from afar, right? Like we met people in St. Louis who were like, I bought all your pay-per-views, but I can't believe I get to see you guys in person. And you're like, oh, wow, like we're a thing. Like it was really, really cool. So, and just the travel with the wrestlers and friends and ring crew and everybody. So I think in retrospect, it was a really good year for that. The show we did at the Malcolm X College right across from the United Center was interesting because we got so many new fans who also had heard about us, but they were in town for Forbidden Door. So they caught our show right before they walked over to Forbidden Door. Yeah. And that was really cool too, to see people from all over, right? Like the shows we used to run after All Out, when All Out was on a Saturday and we run on Sunday. People from Boston, people from California, people from Texas who knew about our show and came to see our show before they went to go see Moxley versus Tanahashi. Okay, I will happily be the opening act to that show. So I think in reflecting on it, this year was everything we wanted it to be, right? We threw a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what would stick. We went to different places. We tried different things. The other thing too that I'm really proud of, and actually I had accidentally texted part of this conversation to Charlie earlier instead of Henry.
I almost responded like, okay.
I'm really proud of the post-production stuff that we've done. So not only the live shows, but the quality of what you're seeing on the broadcast. Brian Lowry from Gnarly Pop does these amazing graphics packages for us. Henry Jasper does these awesome video reviews and pulls together all the camera angles from different people. So we have the live pay-per-view feed, and then Henry does what we call the Ultimate Edition, where he uses all different angles and ways of seeing the show. Like the actual product of what we're putting out live, we're very proud of. But I'm very proud of the crew too that's doing the post-produced streamed product or VOD product, because I think that's becoming more and more unique and higher quality. Wait till you guys see. I'll send you offline. Henry took all these different cameras and did a version of Mance Warner versus Trevor Outlaw, and then set like a score underneath it, like a soundtrack. And he added in interviews and like pre-match footage from Frank and Trevor and Mance. It really makes it a very different experience. I'll send it to you. So I'm proud of that as well.
That so cool. We love stuff like that, of course. Just continues to help with the storytelling. And yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, take time to reflect for sure. You should be proud of yourself. I think we're like seeing you guys bop around. We're like, oh shit. Like there are those moments where you're like, damn, like Warrior's really doing the damn thing out there. Warrior's doing the damn thing out there, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's how you have impressed us.
And you definitely like have, you know, like other people are like, oh, I heard about Warrior, but haven't had a chance to go. For me, it was like, oh, damn, now they're in Indy. Like I can't go to Warrior.
Well, they're coming, yeah. And that allows you to come back to your roots, right, too, for a couple.
Well, and one of the things, actually, based on that, that's some feedback we got from some Chicago folks. It's like, you guys are everywhere else and you're not home anymore. Okay, so what we're going to do in 2023, we're going to try to pace out being home more. So in 22, we were in Cicero in February. We were in Malcolm X in June, but in between we were never home. Those were the only 2 home shows before we got to October at Marion. So now we're going to try to go a road show, a home show, a road show, a home show. So our home fans can see us every couple of months. And right now we've already got it pegged where February, April, and June, we will be in Chicago.
Yeah, no, the graphic is backing up your word. You're a man of your word. And you've always been. And I don't know if this might be the last thing I say, but like hey, I'm glad you're in St. Louis. Can you explain to me? Because here's the thing with us. We're obviously not running a wrestling promotion, Chris and I, but like when thank you for using like our soundbite in your promotional stuff. But like when that happens, or like we get a tweet like, dang, I listened to this and that was great. Like Purge does that a lot because he's just a phenomenal human.
Yes.
But like that is the stuff that keeps us going, and that is the stuff that like makes us like after we've worked, we're like, let's hop on the computer and get something going, reach out to someone, like maybe talk to someone we're not too familiar with to push ourselves. Like that's the stuff keeps us going. Did you get that same feeling when we went on to St. Louis and heard like, we got fans in St. Louis, et cetera?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, like you do a thing and then it's over, right? You put on a show and then the show ends. And you're like, well, I hope people liked it. You know, if people who are there live liked it, you talk to people as they're leaving, et cetera. But you don't know what happens beyond the walls that you're in. So for like you guys putting out a podcast or a video, like you said, you put it out there. And I don't know, hopefully somebody's hearing it and it's not just echoing off the walls.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing too for our shows. So like you said, to hear, you know, like I'll do a specific example. Big Mo, who hosts the podcast, he's based out of, I believe, Nebraska. He drove from Nebraska to St. Louis to see our show. And Mo, correct me if you listen to this and it's not Nebraska. I'm sorry. It might be Western Kansas. I'm not sure. But he's like, I was never going to drive to Chicago, but I can drive to St. Louis. And he talked to us that day and he was like, it's so great to see you guys live. I've been watching it on pay-per-view for a couple of years. And so something like that is like, wow, like you drove to St. Louis. That's a hell of a drive too. We appreciate it. Or even the Chicago fans, right? Like shout out to Tom Zicola and a handful of other Chicago fans who we saw in Indy and Grand Rapids and South Bend and St. Louis. Like that's crazy too.
Yeah, that's so cool. I saw that mention of you on that podcast, but haven't had a chance to listen. But it's really cool to know the fruits of your labor are having that effect on other people. So I'm glad you got to experience that for sure.
Yeah. And when there's something that you love, right? Like whether you're a musician, an artist, whatever, if you love to do a thing, you don't need to be the best in the world at it, but you just need to hear other people go, hey, I appreciate how much you love this. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, I listen. Acknowledge some sort of like mini acknowledgement, I think helps. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's sweet.
And just real quick, Steve, was it at the beginning of this year when the Warrior Wrestling title was featured or appeared in New Japan? Was it the beginning of this year?
Yeah, geez, I didn't even mention that.
Oh, shit.
Right,
Will Ospreay carried our belt down the ramp at the Tokyo Dome for the main event against Okada.
Yep.
Let me say that again. Will Ospreay carried our belt down the ramp at the Tokyo Dome for the main event of Wrestle Kingdom against Okada. And Chris Charlton, shout out to Chris on commentary, pointed out Will Ospreay is carrying the Warrior Wrestling title, which he just won last month in Chicago, Illinois. I'm like, okay.
An idea that came out of your brain went down the ramp in the Tokyo Dome.
Oh, and I will say this too. Huge shout out to Will, because we didn't ask him to do that. When he won the belt in December of 21, he cut a promo at the end of that show in Tinley Park where he's like, I'm taking this belt down to the Tokyo Dome. And all of us backstage looked at each other and I was like, I don't know. Like he just
Did you approve that? Did you approve that?
No, but I approve it afterwards. Thumbs up. Thank you for saying that. Now you have to do it. Yeah, I mean that I think if nothing else, right? Like if we get hit by a meteor in a week and it's all over, at least for Warrior Wrestling, like one of the greatest wrestlers in the world carried our banner and volunteered and decided he was going to carry it down the ramp at one of the most prestigious events in all of wrestling. And it was discussed on the broadcast. We're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're happy with everything we've gotten.
You can bury me tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. That's cool. All right. Sweet. Well, thanks for joining. It was great to catch up. We miss you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be more balanced next year. I think that's the goal. We'll make some commitments. These are the dates. If you're on live stream, save the dates: January 21st, February 18th, March 25th, and then April, May, June to be TBD.
Yep. And guys, just too, let me know if you're going to be around Freelance or anywhere else, because I would love to just see the two of you enjoy a Modelo. I hear one of them cracking open now, and just catch up with you guys.
Absolutely. Sure. Thanks, Steve. We love you and appreciate you for sure.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. Man, oh man.
Man, we're being visited by the three ghosts tonight. That was the ghost. Was that the ghost of... That was the ghost of wrestling past, because we haven't been to a Warrior show in a bit. Not that we haven't watched online, and not that they're not.
We just fantastic. Haven't been. We honestly, we have this whole year. We have been on and off shows. It's not like before. I would stretch myself thin and go to all these shows, and it was so much fun. But things change. Life changes, and we're doing the best we can. But wrestling is still at the core. We still watch wrestling. # Wrestling is a buffet. So it's fun. It's fun to just, kind of catch up and see what Warrior's been up to. And for sure, like I had that I'm like, wait, as we were going back and thinking about Warrior this year, I'm like, it was earlier this year or at the beginning of 2022 when we started seeing those social media posts, because I wasn't watching live, to be honest, when Will Ospreay took that belt down the ramp.
Yeah, no, neither was I.
And that was super cool to see.
It's they keep, this is the one, like we talk about wrestling as a buffet. We might have the ghost of Christmas Present joining us, our second person. I've sent a link out via email, but
okay.
They keep we agree wrestling is a buffet, correct?
100%.
We agree that every promotion that we follow, watch, talk about, etc., has their own strengths, correct?
Yep.
They're all different.
Different flavors.
Different flavors from the buffet line. The Warrior is definitely known for just like continually outdoing themselves, at least within this 4 or 5 year span. Like that is their MO in some cases, where it's just like, like they drop a Will Ospreay out of nowhere, and like that happens. And to have like,
I mean, dude, like a couple years back, like I remember the highlight was like they brought in Rey Mysterio, right? They had brought in
outdoing themselves in
Ultimo
terms
Dragon.
of stardom. Yeah.
Like for sure. Like they have that. I mean, probably the last live Warrior Wrestling show I've attended was when Bret Hart did the signing.
Oh, right.
But they've had Mick Foley. Like they try to up themselves and just in a really fun and different way for sure.
Yeah.
Especially now, like Steve just talked about, like taking the show on the road and continuing to do that in 2023, which is exciting for them as a promotion to see them grow, expand. But but it's kind of cool that we still have them in Chicago, right? Like we can now technically, if they ever get back to their roots of Marian Catholic, then I'm closer than ever now.
How far are you from high school?
I mean, if I think I was like maybe 25 minutes away, I'm now like 15 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, Oak Forest, man. Oak Forest living. There's billboards I've seen before. The OFO.
I mean, I don't know. I still
when I texted you that, you were very confused.
Yes, I was. I'm just trying to make friends with my local liquor stores now. Like,
you got to rekindle those relationships with the
yeah, because I was very used to having a liquor store, half a block from the house.
That was really convenient when you lived there.
Convenient.
It was walk 2 blocks, seriously, not even from your house. That was pretty convenient.
But yeah, like I've been, I stopped by this weekend to a liquor store. Just a quick story here.
Yeah,
and I was in the car with the kids and Carla, and I needed to pick up beer. It was a Saturday night right before the World Cup final, Sunday morning, where I was gonna like have a few people come over watch the final. So I go and I start having a conversation with the owner of the place, and he starts giving me shots of bourbon and whiskey to try out. And 20 minutes go by, and I forgot that Carla was outside waiting for me. So just gotta keep making those connections, and getting to know the local folk around here.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, I think you're at heart you're a people pleaser. Don't change it.
I don't know how much I can please that liquor store owner, right? But I was nice enough to stick around and have a few shots with him. So
that's the benefit is you buy from him, keep him company. Then you get free shit in return, hopefully. Or like if there is some kind of, this is coming in, maybe he gives you a tip. I don't know. They don't sell Funko Pops at liquor stores, do they?
No, but I also have stopped. I haven't bought so many. I still have my boxes of Funko Pops in my parents' garage, where that became like the storage unit for a little bit.
Oh no! You can't keep them in there because then they become. Then you got to get them in there and establish the ground so Carla knows these are here to stay. You can't keep them in the storage. They sit in that storage for months, and then Carla goes, "Oh no, that's storage." Like that.
I told her if I forget that I already have this set of Funkos, I might just buy it again. So let's not make that mistake,
Yeah. We need to get them out and displayed. Do you even have room?
So there's that rack. I don't know if you can see at the top there.
Let's take a tour.
So there's the rack up there where I'm planning on putting some.
That doesn't look like a lot of room though.
It does not look like a room for sure. I'm worried about the masks. I still have masks in boxes, but yeah, we'll figure that part out once everything comes out of storage. We actually have our other guests coming in.
Oh, do we?
Let's not wait that long and bring on Val Capone.
Oh, she made it!
Hi. I think it worked, but I think my audio sounds terrible. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Fine. You sound fine.
I'm in my car. I pulled over though. I'm pulled over. I promise.
Be safe.
Yeah, I'm sitting like at one of the corners. I'm like in front of the Illinois National Guard, so I must be really, really safe.
Val, did you swerve me? You said the link wasn't working, and now you're here.
It wasn't working, and then I was like, wait, I think I'm just being a dum-dum. Let me try one other thing. And I was just being a dum-dum. And so, yeah, I tried one other thing. It's a Malortmas miracle, Charlie.
Val, we're doing our end of year review 2022. You're the freelance wrestling representative and this is not, you would never be this far down in our hearts, but we tried James, we tried Nick's. I think they're doing some kind of like meeting at the academy or something. So it's poor planning on our part, but I just did watch Speedball Bailey versus Brian Keith, and it sounded like you were shouting. Yeah, it sounded like you were giving birth throughout the entire match. So you're the freelance representative for tonight.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't personally want to have children. That's not my cup of tea. So yes, I birthed a baby on air on IWTV. That's as close to having children other than having all the fur babies that I will ever probably have. So yes, but I am proud of that baby. Oh my stars, that match was insanity. I mean,
talk about it.
It was it was earth shattering, as noted by the decimation of the bottom rope. It was it had everything. I mean, it had everything that a wrestling fan could possibly want. It had two of the top tier talents in independent, scratch that, in professional wrestling, period. I mean, legitimately. Brian Keith, the Freelance Legacy Champion, has not been pinned or submitted in Freelance yet since he's been with us. And Speedball Mike Bailey.
I didn't know that.
He has not even come close. And I thought Speedball Mike Bailey was going to be the one to take the title to possibly even. I mean, I really didn't know what was going to happen going into the match. I didn't think we were going to get that wonder wall of talent. I mean, it was just insane. I mean, both are so well versed in the art of professional wrestling and in the art of striking and just weaving a story with such passion and honor and dignity and respect for the combatant across the ring from you. Like, I mean, it was just, it was so intense. I mean, I had a baby.
I think, there was times where I didn't even, it was hard to put it into words because, like, when I was watching it, it's like my eyes just got, like, slowly wider and wider throughout the whole thing until the
and my eyes welled up afterwards. I looked at K-Mel and I just was like, did we just get to call that match? And I looked at him, and his mouth was agape, and for once, he also was at a loss of words. And my partner is rarely at a loss for words. He will often fill in when I'm busy, like basically having a brain fart. Even before I got diagnosed with a brain disorder, I often would brain fart on camera, And K-Mel would always swoop in there and put into words what I could not convey. Because K-Mel is very good at weaving words together. He is a wordsmith supreme. And even K-Mel just looked at me like, like he was stutter stepping. He could not finish a single sentence. And we just looked at each other like, and I started tearing up. And I straight up went downstairs and, I put one hand on the shoulder of Brian Keith and I put one hand on the shoulder of Speedball as they were uncurling all the money that was thrown at them, which deservedly so. People crumpled up dollars and threw them into the ring a la lucha style, which is the highest compliment that you can throw at a couple of luchas after a match. And the locker room flooded out and just circled the ring and banged on it old school Freelance style. And it was just so moving and so beautiful. And I had like a single tear fall. and I had to tell them that. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm such a weirdo. But like that match brought me to tears, and they're like, it's okay, Val. You're our kind of weirdo. And I was like, thank you for loving me no matter how weird I am. I mean, it just, all I could say is just go back and turn down the volume, maybe, just watch the match for what it was, or turn the volume on and like have your ears bleed a bit, but it's worth it. It's hard to describe how much that match moved me as like a Lady Mark since age 7, because y'all know I'm a Lady Mark for life.
That's true. That has been established on this podcast before. Absolutely. There should be a shirt that says like Freelance Weird with the logo. Like, you're a special type of weird.
But that's what I love about Freelance is that we're free to be weird there, and it's okay, and it's accepted, and it's applauded, and it's supported, and like that's what I love about Freelance is like we are the weirdos, and it's okay, and it fucking should be. Sorry, I'm cussing already.
You're good. The crowd was super. I think it helps too when the crowd is really into it, and the match took off. It didn't. Chris, it didn't have a slow build. Like it just started and it was just going. And that's usually, I did love this match. Usually I like the slow build, but like with these two, and I think it made sense for them to just start just striking each other. And the crowd was into it from the start, right? Like the crowd was totally.
Yeah. And like Speedball will like 0 to 60, 0 to 60, 0 to 60. Like he'll just, but I do love that like Brian Keith tends to like stalk his prey, because he's a bounty hunter. Yeah. He will seek out his next capture from like wherever he is in the wrestling universe. He gives zero, like he doesn't. he has his eyes set on you, and he is coming for you. And the intensity that he looks at who he's coming after, like, oh, it fills my heart with like such joy and terror all at the same time. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you could see, but right as you said that, Chris is like has the matchup in the background, and it cut to Brian Keith's just like stare. So that was like perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, he is. Oh gosh, I'm so thankful that he's always like, "Hello, Miss. How are you, ma'am? Nice to see you again." Like he's always super cordial, and he is a gentleman as long as you are not on his list of people he's come to collect. You know what I mean? Like, because he truly is the bounty hunter, and if you are on that list, I don't know what God you believe in, but may Gaga have mercy on your soul, because, I am praying to her for you, because, like, you don't want him on your bad side. You don't want him on any side of you, except for on the very, very, very far side of the ring, and the bell has not rung yet, because, no, he's scary.
He's scary. He's had a crazy year. He's kind of like been I think stereotypically middle titles can be a little bit more your workhorse titles. I think back to like the Intercon. I think back to like when the WWF championship was kind of like Hogan, and he was a little bit more of a dinosaur. Whereas like your Intercontinental champion, right? Whereas like your Intercontinental champion was like your Michaels, your Razor, your Brett, like the guys who would fucking go. And that
I'm legitimately wearing Razor Ramon sweatpants right now. Ayo.
Oh, dang. Oh, those are great. Wow. Don't keep those away from Two Juice. He'll steal those right off of you, and then not your way, just because.
Oh, Two Juice tonight. I mean, I also got a Malort hat, so he's probably going to try to steal from me, but
But Brian Keith has been that workhorse this year for Freelance, and he's just had maybe a phenomenal, like one of the most phenomenal years, I think, locally, right?
Yeah. I think anybody that comes in from Texas has something to prove, because, there's a straight shot up from Texas to Chicago, and Chicago has always consistently been a solid wrestling town, whether it be the indies or the bigs or whatever the hell you want to call it. Chicago has always been a wrestling town, and I love that Texans come here to stake their claim because they want to be known in the wrestling game that is Chicagoland.
Yeah.
And you could see that Kylie Ray started training in Chicago, and she is the queen of this city. Lainey Luck started training in Texas, and she is also trying to run this town. Mysterious Q, he's doing the same thing. He knows what the prize is here in Chicago, and he wants to be known. So many people. Hyen started in Texas, wants to make her name known in Chicago. There are so many Texans that come up here and want to make Chicago known. And, this was the second main event that Brian Keith has main evented.
Right.
And technically, I guess the legacy title is a secondary title, but as far as I'm concerned, Brian Keith has made the second city his second home. You know what I mean? Like,
damn, look at you.
Yeah, that's gold right there.
Val, you've been hanging around KML a lot because you've dropped 2 stats on us so far, and then you just pulled that one out of your ass. So I think KML is rubbing off. I think you're getting a lot better as an announcer. I know that for a fact, but KML's been rubbing off on you.
Look, I realize that I'm a big time fangirl, but you have to understand that there is the subtle art of what I like to call finalysis. Like, I analyze things from a fan's perspective, and there is an art form to that, and it should and needs to be respected. A lot of times, yes, it sounds like I'm just having a baby, but there is a special craft that it takes to understand the concept of the viewpoint of the fan, because, you know, he's got the numbers and he'll throw down, but like, I have a different form of passion, and the passion is I've been standing there banging on those mats. I might not be part of the locker room per se. I mean, I guess technically I am.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a member of the Freelance locker room since 2017 now, you know, holding a mic, not risking my life unless, you know, that stupid clown keeps messing with me.
Oh,
but,
God.
But, you know, since 2017, I've been lucky enough to be a part of the Freelance roster of sorts. But, like, I've been a fan of Freelance for years and years and years. And I feel blessed that I get to work with brilliance like K-Mel and now, you know, also Dave Prazak. He's part of the Freelance announce team now. And Kirby, and I am so blessed. You know, thank you, Gaga. But, like, I mean, I still can't believe that I get to spin my words together in a finalysis kind of way, you know.
I think you just created a new trend. We're going to start that hashtag, finalysis.
Well, thank you for that, because I appreciate it, because I really do put a lot of work in. So even the fact that you even say that, Charlie and Chris, I like appreciate you dudes so much, because, you know, I love this so much. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be doing it going into my 6th year as part of the Freelance mic crew. I don't know what you want to call it, because, you know, I dabble in 3 different realms in the Freelance mic world, whether it be, you know, on the broadcast team, when I do get to do the interviews still on occasion, and as a ring announcer when Kirby needs me to help him out sometimes. So I mean, it's pretty cool. It's like super unreal, considering like I started going, I think, at the 1st or 2nd show at Bottom Lounge. So almost since the very beginning. I didn't get to go to any of the Abby shows, but almost since the very beginning. So.
No, and you sorry, Chris, were you going to say something?
No, go on.
You mentioned the clown. We're putting together, the last year we did a Chicago's Top 25 list, and we're putting together another list. Now, there's different factors that go into this. It kind of comes from my brain as well. So you can kind of talk me out of this. But right now, non-biasedly, I do have Robert Anthony and the Clown as number 1 on who's had the best 2022 in terms of, like, I know, you know, we don't agree with the way they do it, but, like, can you talk a little bit about the year that those two have had in the freelance ring? Because it's been impressive from a wins title standpoint. I guess we can't argue that, although they do it in a shitty way.
So I don't think it's been impressive when it's always been underhanded. I would think that Brian Keith would trump. I hate that word.
We know you would surpass. Surpass is a good one.
Surpass, yes, correct. See, I love you. Thank you. I should have used thesaurus.com. It's my best friend. I almost said Joe Biden's predecessor, but I didn't want to get political. Is anybody surprised? I mean, really, come on.
No.
Anyway, no, I would think that Brian Keith would have had the better title run. He's came in and dominated, and he's only had 1 technical loss, and it was a DQ, so it wasn't really even a loss, and it was because of the stupid clown.
Another stat you pulled out.
Because underhanded wins aren't victories for me. They're just W's in the column. And when you do work with such a brilliant mind like K-Mel, you get not just the W and L's. Like, you don't see the W flag fly, you don't see the L flag fly. You know all the facts behind why those flags fly. And so it's not just W and L columns, it's all the knowledge behind it. So since I know all the knowledge behind it, because my BFF sitting to my walking encyclopedia that is typically sitting to my right, I do know all the information, because all I have to do is, hey, K-Mel, do you want to tell me what happened on the 3rd show in the 4th match? The 2nd show that we ran in this year? And then he goes, well, Val fonts. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I forgot, because I have a brain disorder, or whatever. Which is true, sadly. Screw you, long COVID. But, and it's also true, awesomely, because that's how K-Mel is. He's so dang good. He doesn't get nearly enough credit because he's not a social media guy. So I will fly the K-Mel flag forever and ever. I fly the K flag. And he deserves every W forever.
But, you're looking beyond just the stat sheet. You're looking at the why and the
stats don't tell the entire story. And part of my job as the finalysis, is to tell the whole story. And unbiased, not just because I hate the clown, I respect the heck out of that man who unfortunately has that oversized growth of stupidity attached to him. Robert Ego Anthony is a consummate athlete. And as a former professional athlete myself, I appreciate the heckins out of what Robert Ego Anthony does. I don't necessarily appreciate the underhand tactics because much like GPA, I don't think GPA needs to rely on underhanded tactics. I think he has a brilliant brain. I think he has a pretty solid, no, I'm talking about GPA, pretty solid physical,
He's got a booty.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Sure. He has a decent posterior that he worked really hard to build.
It's true.
But,
it's true.
I mean, I think Robert Ego Anthony is in impeccable shape, especially considering we're in the similar age group. And it is very, very hard to compete when people in the locker room are 10, 15, 20 years younger than you.
Yes,
trust me,
that's a good point.
When I was playing roller derby and I was playing at the World Cup level, and we had to compete with the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and the USOC, the U.S. Olympic Committee rule set, we had to allow 14-year-old competitors. Okay, I had played roller derby for over 15 years by the time I hung up my skates. So I was competing with people that were 1 year old the first time I ever broke my leg playing roller derby. Like, what?
Yikes.
Like,
it's hard. It's impressive the shape he's in for how old he is.
Period. Not even for how old he is. It's impressive the shape that he's in. Stop. Full stop. And then you bring that beat back and you look at what shape he's in, considering he's been wrestling for almost 2 decades, if not 2 full decades. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Wear and tear.
Why waste your time on the douchebaggery of a sparkly little crown? And I know that stupid little crown, and don't get me wrong, as a queer woman, I love me some rainbows and glitter. But, why? Why? And Frank could be such a good manager if he wasn't such a schmuck. I mean, he does have some decent points, but why be so smarmy and so stupid and so schneh, schneh is definitely a word somewhere, I'm sure of it.
We'll look that up in the thesaurus. It's got to be there.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere out there, probably. I just drank some coffee. Can you tell?
I think you're just always like this when we see you. I don't know if
I drink coffee I actually wake up to drink coffee. So, look, I have a lot of headaches because of this brain condition, okay? And the only thing that helps it is more coffee.
There you go. I'm sorry.
Well, except for with coffee.
Val, I just want to say that we gotta go because we're doing segments, but shout out to Val. This was impromptu. She just did it because her heart is huge, and we needed a freelance representative, and
I was the backup of the backup.
Not in our hearts. Not in our hearts.
No, not at all.
Just in a hierarchy of made up.
And because I'm half Jewish, and it's Hanukkah, so I'm chopped liver.
Never. Are you going to be doing more commentating in the future? Can we look forward to hearing your screams?
My screams, my yelping. Yeah. I won't be on anything for the rest of the year. I'm done for 22. Oh, how sad.
Yeah, the next year.
But I believe in 23, yes. You will be seeing me quite all over the place. They can't shut me up. They've tried.
Okay, that's fantastic. And as always, and congrats to all your commentating success. I know we don't want to get into it because we got to hop to the next person, but I know you did it with the Drama King too recently. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was
amazing.
And we had really good chemistry, and I hope I get to work with Drama King again. Matt Raywell and I had a blast with Warrior. yeah, I'll be working with Warrior, hopefully more with Freelance. Of course, Effie's Big Gay Brunch coming up, a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, I saw you there.
Yeah, Black Label Pro, when Zello's off hiatus, back with Zello. Second Wrestling, I'm booked for Black Label Pro and Second the same weekend in February. I believe I'm on Freelance the first show of January. I think it's Freelance January 14th. I'm not sure if I'm on commentary for that yet. I got to check my schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff coming up in 23. Very excited. I have my birthday January 2nd. Woo! So send me all the coffee. I love cold brew all year round. It's ice cold, just like my heart. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Val. We love you.
Yeah, say hi on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And if you ever see me at a show, come say hello, please. I love talking to people. If I have a mask on, it's just because I'm protecting my immune system. And, just say hi. I'll always talk your ear off. And I'm always amped up. You're right.
I can second that. You're the most approachable person I know. So
I'm a big goofball. So, I'll always say hello. Even, don't think, oh, I don't want to talk to her. She's got a mask on. No, I'll always say hello. Please come say hi. I love talking wrestling. And China's RIP. China's my favorite wrestler of all time. So come talk to me. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Val.
Thanks, Val. We love you.
I love you, dudes. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
It's 9:06 p.m.
Yeah,
the amount of energy. It's 9:06 p.m.
Match her energy. Yeah.
She's amazing. I mean, like, I feel energized now just talking to her. Like, and I need to shoot her a thank you message really quick.
Right. We were looking for that freelance representative for tonight, and she definitely stepped up to the plate. And who better, right? Like she was talking about, she just had called this match Speedball versus, and of course it would be Chris if I didn't forget his name.
Keith, damn it, Brian.
Right, not Keith Lee. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking Keith Lee, but I'm like, I know it's not Keith Lee. You got to respect the poncho. I actually have the match still going over here, on the second screen. Do you know the time limit on this match?
It ends at like the 2 hour 7 minute mark, I think.
Meaning like just the length of the match.
No, I don't. Or is it
it does end at 2:10, but I'm at 1:56, and I feel like the match has been going on for 10 minutes already.
It goes by when you watch it start to finish. It goes by really quick because, like I said, it takes off like that. Off like that ride at Disney where it just like, remember there was that one like roller coaster where it just like shoot immediately and they had to like.
Is it the Aerosmith?
Yeah, it was like one of those. Yeah, like that just takes, this match just goes from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that Brian Keith here has like had a very, very good 2022. Yeah.
So the list right now, as it stands, Chicago's top 25.
You have him down as number 3.
I have him down as number 3. So I have Robert Anthony and Frank the Clown first. I have Storm Grayson second. So I think he's had an insane year. I went through all the promotions that we talk about, and I marked down how many matches people did. So like, I think that, and the reason why I did that, I know that you could do quality versus quantity. I get that. But I think like if there's a lot of quantity, it's like this person has really involved themselves in this scene and has been relied on by promotions to Storm has held 2 belts.
Yep.
So like if you held a belt, you got like 5 extra points. If you wrestled a match, you got like a point.
There's method to the madness, people.
There's an algorithm.
You did not just decide this list based on how he was feeling that day.
There is some bias. I want to say there is some bias into it. Obviously, I'm bored by, like we said, wrestling is a buffet. Every single promotion does something really good, really well. Every single promotion has some stuff they can work on. They'll tell you that. We gravitate more towards freelance. I watch a lot more freelance than any promotion. I think we've always been honest about that. So yeah, like our top 3, Storm has wrestled for Warrior, but like our
Storm, perfect transition here. He's done some work with AAW recently.
Yeah, he's been, and that's why I think he's 2 is because like he had such a high score of like being involved around, and like obviously he was relied upon in multiple promotions. And now we have our next person in the green room who just chatted us. I'm here. I'm sorry. Were you trying to get into that transition, Chris? Go for it.
I was trying to here, Charlie, but I let you run with it. But let's not take too long, and let's bring on Trent from AAW Pro, AAW Redefined.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
Happy end of 2022. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Where are you?
I'm outside of the Hemi studio right now. Undisclosed location, though. I got a lot of valuable equipment in there, man. I can't be telling people where this is.
We're not doxing you, bro. We're not doxing you.
Dude, I don't know, man. You know who's listening. I don't know what your fan base is like.
Are you getting some New Year album, or what are you guys Christmas? Are you guys doing a Christmas album?
No, next year I want to do a Christmas single for sure. But today is merch inventory day, merch and equipment inventory day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just
still
a lot
got
of
hot
counting.
sauce in stock.
What's up?
Hot sauce is still in stock.
I got 6 bottles left, Chris. I got 6 left for this batch. So if you're
put
coming
me
to
down
the show,
for 2.
if you're coming to the show next week, I can save one for you. I'm just saying.
Where is the show?
Logan Square. Come on, Charlie. What is the? You have to ask.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the Hemi show. God damn it.
No.
Wrestling Focused Podcast.
Wrestling Focused Podcast. Yeah. Screw your other interests.
December 30th, right?
Yes, December 30th, Logan Square. But yeah, I mean, I'll have a few with me if you want some, Chris. If you're coming. I know Charlie's not coming. He's a bad bully for if my name was Matt Nix, he'd be there. But apparently,
shots fired.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Maybe maybe if Danny Daniels had purple hair or pink or had hair and dyed purple, you would show up at shows, but he doesn't.
Wow. What about that? The last 2 articles. No, two of the last 3 articles were AAW focused. What about getting to know Mike Hartenbauer? Does that count as? Does that count as something?
You've made up for it. By writing articles about Hartenbauer. It's really nice, man. Hartenbauer getting some love lately, which is awesome. You know, like the feud with Bennett really put that guy on the map. So I think, Hardenbauer's one of those guys, man. He's like Old Faithful. You kind of went to him for a lot, but he's turned into like a legit viable member of before a lot of times Hardenbauer was a local. He was a long time. He was LaSalle's.
Yeah, LaSalle.
He was focused local guy, and now you have Hardenbauer and storylines, and he's a crucial part of the show now, man. Mike in general is a crucial part of AAW behind the scenes as well.
Bennett feels like a very good. He almost feels like he should have been involved in that era. We don't have to dwell. I know we're moving on to bet. You guys got good stuff going now, and you guys got good stuff coming up. So we don't have to dwell on but he just seems like he almost should have belonged in that era where you guys were like flying all those people in. He does feel like that big of a name and that quality of wrestler. He seems to be like someone you guys can really rely on going forward too, and have this year. Mike
Bennett is what an amazing human being for one, but secondly, he's a big star, but man, he's so humble and very easy to work with and extremely talented in the ring and inside and out, dude. The guy he's legit, man. Mike Bennett is awesome. I'm glad we have someone with his star power on the roster. It's crazy to have. It's crazy to think Mike Bennett's been literally every major company in the last 20 years. And now
exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He's had such a track record.
Yeah.
The year 2020. So we're working on the Chicago's top 25 list again. I don't know if you remember.
Cool.
And I released that. I got some AAW people in the top 10. I got Davey Vega at 9, I think.
Nice. Deserved.
Yes. Yeah. Talk about his heritage title run. I know I texted you about the article that I recently wrote about those 2. but like you said, you make sure like everyone knows he's having an historic run. Like, how can you expand on that thought?
I've never seen Vega more comfortable in the role that he is as professional wrestler as he is now. His confidence, when you see Davey Vega walk and enter, there isn't that. It's not a dude who happens to be wrestling. This is a professional wrestler, and that's all you know about him at this point. Like he's so confident. He's so arrived in his character and his presence now.
Yeah.
It took, I mean, sometimes you never know how long it takes for that to happen to your career. So the key is longevity. The key is consistency. I mean, David Vega, and yes, he was popular as a bestie, and he knew what he was doing. But if you compare the mere entrance of his bestie run to how it is today, and there's a level of confidence on his face that you can't even match to that time. He's so different. His moves are crisp. He's so much more. He's got so much more presence, ring awareness. His interaction with fans, the character, so much more defined. I think Davey Vega completely has arrived now, and it's become a really big part of the company. Man, I'm super proud to have him. His promos,
that's so
too.
cool.
Let's not discount his promos. His promos are phenomenal too.
Yeah, he's and in doing the research I did, and I wrote the article, the fantasy booking Fitchett versus Vega, which I'm super proud of it. I'm gonna just toot my own horn for a second, but like in doing all that research and like looking at the promos are they're like sitting together casually, right? So he's had to, I'm sure, like do a different style where like he can still be himself, but he's gonna kind of talk. It's almost like they were being recorded talking to themselves a little bit, and they did some at the camera, but it was just like you almost just were a fly on the wall to a besties conversation.
Yeah,
and now it's different. Like he's got to change up that dynamic. He's got to be the man who is now supported by the posse. So it's definitely a little bit different and challenging for him, I'm sure. How do you think that his support system like supports him in this role? Do they pick up slack in things that he can't do, or does it just feel like a stronger entity if it's like a bad evil team?
It's totally an entity, and this is a big importance why people are so big on having veterans in your locker room. John Bravo is Vega's manager, and when Bravo came in, he kind of tied the loose ends together. Like that's where you have a guy who's been around for 25 years, who comes in and he sees the things that you're not doing. And he look at the posse, right? You have Hartenbauer, you have Sean Logan, you have Davey Vega, you have John Bravo. You have different levels of experience all throughout, from a 25-year veteran to a 2-year veteran in Sean Logan, right? It's our 2-year guy.
Yeah, it's diverse.
That overarching knowledge that just kind of goes over the entire group, from a guy like starting at Bravo and just making its way over to Logan, is so vital to tie up all those loose ends where like Bravo's going to give you all that stuff you're missing, and then these younger guys are going to show him stuff that maybe he might not be thinking of, and it all works together. But when Bravo came in, he saw those things that were like, what do we need to get Vega to the next level?
Yeah.
And you can see it. You can just watch. If you go back and watch, you can see the moments from when Bravo took over with Vega, how he gave him that little extra push and just kind of cleaned up, fine-tuned it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how he fine-tuned Hartenbauer, Logan. Look at Sean Logan, how much further ahead he is than other people who are at the same experience level. Because having that rub from a veteran who's sitting you down after the show and saying, here's what I saw, here's what you should do next time. Try this. Let's do this when we go out there. Make sure you're standing here. Make sure you're doing this. When I call for you here, do this. Look at the camera this way. Dress like this. Things like that are just, I mean, they're immeasurably valuable to a roster, which is why every roster needs to focus on having veterans in it, because they're the ones who go and do that kind of stuff. They're the ones who fine tune. I compare it to like a guitar. There's guitars that you can tune a guitar, but then there's fine tuners that each guitar has. Some guitars have a fine tuner, which makes it that much better, and that's what a veteran does to your locker room. So
wow, that was really well said. I can picture it. The ones who have been there, and you need to find the right. I'm sure there's veterans who don't, and I'm not speaking for your locker room, but like you got to find the right veterans who are willing to do that.
Yes,
and willing
you need a selfless veteran. Like if you get a selfish veteran who's just there to get himself over, it's not gonna work. And there's a lot out there who are just in this business to like, one more run, brother. I got one more in me, brother. That shit. Johnny Bravo has zero intention of taking any moments away from anyone, and his whole thing is about giving back to our locker room. And like, I cannot even stress enough how valuable he is to our locker room as a manager, as a player, as a friend. The guy's awesome. So everybody listening, go get yourself a veteran in your locker room. That's what you should need to do for sure. Who's like yours too? Who's like invested in your product, and who's your guy? You all need it. Everybody needs it.
Yeah, no, that's very well said. I did have, so I'm gonna look at this list with non-finalized unofficial list. I did have Jake something at 4, and
good year for Jake. I mean, it was weird, started off weird. He left Impact, so no more contracted TV stuff. But he bet on himself, man. He's been everywhere since.
Yeah,
he's our champion.
Yeah, I had it. I think that's why I think I kind of had it, because him there so much, because it felt like he really took that next step to be almost a face of AAW and taking the title away from Fitchett. So yeah, I mean, I think he's always he's been consistently with you. But he just seemed like this was his year to be more important in the AEW spotlight.
Jake's in a very crucial place in his career where like now is the moment you have to take it up to the next level, and it's on Jake, it's on us as our champion to do that properly for him. It's 50-50. Like we have to give him the right stage, but he has to run with it. But Jake something's in a position in his career where like this is where you have to take your character and your whole skill level, everything to one more level up, because that's the natural evolution. He's come this far, but he needs to go to the next level now, because if he doesn't, you're going to stagnate. So we have to honor Jake as our champion, and he has to honor himself as a guy who's on his trajectory, going higher. So it's a crucial year for Jake something in 23. Very crucial year. That's
awesome. Very well said. Very well summarized as always.
I'm an intelligent guy, Charlie. I analyze like field sports.
What's great is I honestly can tell that, and this is, I know you in my mind represent the crew. I know there's a lot of people back there and a lot of stuff going on that I don't see, but you're the face of it in my opinion.
I'm the only one who talks to anybody else. Everybody's very focused, very workhorse, artistic. I'm the only one who wants the spotlight of being on podcasts, mainly on your podcast, so I can make sure that I keep my record over Warrior Steve, on the amount of appearances.
Well, do you know who was our first guest on this live stream?
Was it Steve?
Well, it was Steve.
But I'm still beating Steve, though. I've one more onto this.
I think you gotta stay. We needed you to stay ahead. So we needed you to come in at the tail end to stay ahead, I think.
Can you guys arrange a me and Steve podcast? Fred versus Steve. The battle of the appearance.
I think we can. It's funny you say that. I'm the next kind of creative thing I kind of want to write about in the future is maybe some kind of cross promotional stuff. We'll see how that goes. But
we did our first one. I mean, real first one with Impact this year. That was a big one for us to have our title defended in an Impact ring, right? And that was interesting. A lot's come of it. I'll be honest. Our phone started ringing a lot after that on stuff to do. So it's a matter of doing the right one for us.
Cool.
So it's not going to be the last time you see a cross promotion from AAW. It's definitely, it made us realize that people really want to do this with us.
Yeah.
So, more than we realized that they wanted to. So this won't be the last one you see in 23. Is going to have a lot more of that. Let's put it that way.
That's sweet. That's awesome to hear. And yeah, I noticed you guys really do. We've talked about this before. You guys do have that production effort always. You even did a video, like you interviewed Fitchett and Manders before they went on the show. Like I've watched that before they went on the Impact show. And I see even like a Sean Logan, right? Like a person who you wouldn't know, but then like he gets his own backstage promo. And
you saw the promo, the goddamn promo time I give that kid. I see a camera in his face more. And you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna get signed someday. It's gonna be a big star, and he won't even remember who I am. The guy probably has done 30 promos with Sean Logan. He'll be like, who are you again? I'm like, Sean, remember me? Remember me? I did your first promo ever. I taught you how to talk to a camera. Do you remember me? He's like, no. You want to buy 8x10 though? Like, fuck you, Sean Logan.
No, but what I'm trying to say is when I see that, and you guys do a bunch. You guys will do at least it seems like at least 5 per show. That's what the bare minimum.
I did 13 last show myself.
Fucking hell.
Just me. And then our other promo camera did at least another 8. We do at least no less than 25 promos a show.
That's a fucking lot. That is, you guys realize that, right? That's that's good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's a fucking lot.
We do a lot because at the end of the day, you're telling stories. It's a show. It's a TV show. This isn't the real show. Is the characters here. That's what we're. Everybody, look. You can watch our show. You can watch Freelance. You can watch Warrior. You can watch Revolver. Whatever it is. A lot of moves. You're gonna see the same moves between all the companies. The idea storytelling. That's how you're differentiating the companies. Is the stories you tell and the presentation you do it with. And that's where we try to be different, as we completely are focusing on our stories here and our characters. Oh, hey, look, I'm on a podcast. This is my guitar, Tim.
Oh, you're on a podcast.
I'm on a podcast right now.
Hey, Tim.
This is the one half of the greatest guitar duo in Chicago right here. He's too humble. He fucking hates compliments. But here, show him your hands. These are fucking lethal weapons on guitars. He's right here. You can play guitar.
Wow. Look at those mittens. Look at those paws.
Yeah, very, very good guitar hands. Our drummer is a mechanic by day, and he's got these meat hooks, like these real, manly fucking hands that just pound drums. So very manly, not like me. I sit at a keyboard all day.
Very good, very good for counting inventory, huh?
That's what we were doing. So, but yeah, I had to come out here and call into this. We're doing. I told him I'd be on for a few minutes. You taking off? Tim's made an appearance on Two Heels in a Face podcast.
He has.
There you go.
Welcome, Tim.
There you go.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Later. See ya.
We can do 2 more if you got the time. Unstoppable. Can you tell us what your thoughts leading into it?
Dude, it's the closeout for the year. It's going to be I mean, this is like where you kind of set 23 in motion now. Like we're going to set up 2023 now, so we have to close out. There's some storylines that are concluding, other ones kicked off. This is the wrap up for 2022. This was the first year back from the shutdown, COVID time, and all that stuff. So we had a lot to rebuild, a lot of new characters to introduce, a lot of stories to tell. So gonna wrap it up for the year and head into 23 now. So it's a good one that if you've been following along all year, or if you haven't, it's a good one to kind of see what, number one, wrap up your year, and secondly, if you haven't been following along, it's a good one to know what to expect for next year.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it kind of starts some things. I see Manders making the return.
Gary J and Fred. Yep, that's another one.
That holy shit. That's I don't want. I almost said a word I don't want to say because I don't want anyone to have one. But there's going to be some elbows to heads here, I think, in this one.
Put it this one: when these two got booked for this, they were more excited than anything else. So Fred Yehi is literally a Terminator. Like, he is the Terminator. You cannot stop him. He's truly a machine, dude. Like, the guy's insane. And he's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's bananas to me.
Yeah. So Fred Yehi was on the top 25 list again. The Josh C and ACH were, I know this one, the Josh C, but I had Josh C and ACH like together. I think they might be around like 15, 16. They're on the list as well. I think Calvin Tankman might be, but it's not. There's a lot of AAW representatives on here for sure.
Dude, Tankman is somebody I never got to work with until like 2 shows ago, and I did a promo with him, and he was just like, man, and he was really good. I was like, dude, you're a hell of a promo, and he's like, man, nobody ever lets me talk. And I was like, you're gonna fucking talk every time you are here.
I love that,
dude. He is such an underrated promo. But this is gonna be an interesting match because Tankman is not officially a tag champ, but he's been stepping in to cover for what, ACH retired, so Ja had to pick a partner and literally pick Calvin Tankman. So it's been interesting.
Wait, I didn't know that. ACH retired?
ACH, he had some personal issues. He's retired. I mean, he could come back, but he definitely made.
Okay.
He's retiring, so.
But that's why for now, Jossie has been having different partners, right?
Yes, Tank has been on the
okay.
last
'Cause
3.
he had Ren too, didn't he?
He had
Ren Jones.
he had Manders. He had for 2. He had Calvin for 2.
Oh,
He had somebody else for 1. So I can't. But was it Ren? I don't know if it was Ren.
I might be wrong.
But either way, we're trying to find. I have something in mind to add a little element to this match. So live, just stay tuned on this one. There might be some added story to follow along on this one. So we might you might get some more layers on this match. So just stay tuned.
I love it. The year as so what did you think about I know you mentioned briefly, Chris is just, sorry, are we keeping you? Chris just keeps going to the next graphic.
I just think that the card is awesome.
Let's run through the matches, then I'll jet. Then I gotta get back.
Okay. What did you think very briefly about the Vega? Was I on point with some of the Vega Fitchett stuff, or was I
100%? Because you know him really well too. Like, you know Vega's career so well. So I thought it was awesome. You had it from a perfect perspective.
And I want to point out that in the article I mentioned, I reached out to 2 people. One of those people was you. So I used some of what you gave me too in that.
Nice.
So yeah. And Levi Everett definitely deserves a shot here, 100%, because he's been
Levi Everett. He's so goddamn over. Again, another reason why guys, any wrestlers listening to this, be a character, because people inherently at the end of the day want characters. Like, I'm all for. There's certain guys who are just going to be wrestlers. That's fine, but you need a character, because to pop this little 5'3" guy who's an Amish dude who literally is Amish. Okay, he does not even run his own social media because the elders would not like him to. So he has other people run his social media, and 5'3" Amish dude gets the biggest pops of the freaking night. So be a character. You know, at the end of the day, be a character.
I tell you what, this dude fucking sweats bullets through his shirt too. He goes all out. He's so sweaty at the end of a match.
It's unbelievable.
And then it's really cool to have Mance. Mance has been so crucial for you guys, and it only feels right that Jake. Okay, now you're champ, but you got to prove yourself against a former and also just a psychotic human as in Manslaughter. So it's like a prove it match.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 different styles. You know, big power giant versus, you know, hardcore brawler, everyday redneck guy. It's going to, so you have really southern style versus a more of a big man power guy.
Yeah.
So 2 different styles completely. I don't know what to expect on this one, to be honest. It's going to divide the crowd for sure, because they both have their own fan base.
Yeah.
They're both crucial to the company. It's going to be a very divided crowd, but I think Logan is one of the types of venues that they'll just cheer for both equally.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, like, even though they're divided, like, they want one to win over the other, they'll still cheer for good moments in the match. So you're not going to have a dead crowd. You're just going to have a very confused crowd. So that'll be the fun part to watch.
2022, man. Congrats on another year. Congrats on honestly all the effort you guys put in. Like I said, I see it when I see all these promos from backstage. I'm like, I know Trent's doing his thing. Like, how is this year for you as a whole? Like, do you have any reflective thoughts on it?
Creatively, it's been one of the most fulfilling years of my wrestling career. I guess it is a career. I do get a W-2 for this, so it's officially a career.
There you go.
Like, it is fulfilling. My thing was, I told Danny at the beginning of the year that I'm like, just give me the young guys. I want to work with a lot of the young talent, because to me, they're very receptive. Not that the older guys aren't. I just love working with the young guys to kind of set them on their way with promos and literally throw cameras in people's faces and see what they're made of.
Yeah.
So I asked, like, let me just have a lot of the young guys. And what the cool thing is, so for any companies out there, like, their producers would know. I don't know how many other people's structures are, but for us, between our producers, there's some people who just work better with other people. Like, for example, I have a chemistry with Fred Yehai that, you know, other producers don't. You know, it's just me and Fred. I just understand. We understand. I know the character more than, let's say, our other producer does. So when I'm at a show, it's like I'm assigned Fred because I know how to get that. I've written his story with him. I've helped develop the character. So it's like, well, that's my guy. I'm going to assign him. For example, using Jake and I just, for some reason, other producer works better with Jake. Like, you know, he works way better with Jake than I do. So for me, it's like, okay, no, you take Jake promos because you know how to tap into him way better than I can. And it's just chemistry too. Sometimes you just don't work with somebody as well as you do somebody else. I'm great with Mance. I'm great with Vega. Like, I just have different people who I'm like, I just get you and you get me, and we click. Other ones, it's like, no, just split up your list and focus your strengths properly. So for me, it's been a lot of that this year, and I've gotten a lot of awesome people, man, who have gone on to do awesome things on TV and elsewhere. Like, just hearing certain wrestlers tell me that they've incorporated things I've helped them put together elsewhere when they've gone on international tours or whatever, and TV or whatever. It's just like, it's fulfilling to me to hear that. But my big ones this year, man, I gotta point them out by name. Damian Chambers is one of my absolute favorite focuses, and just the last show when he got to come up to the main show, his first time coming up from Alive, and he's on main roster. I know this isn't NXT and WWE, but for me, that might as well have been literally going from a takeover to a WrestleMania. That was the moment for me, because I've seen Chambers get put together like that and put his career together. So to me, it was awesome.
That was your like Triple H, I'm proud of you moment, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It was pretty.
That's awesome.
That was like a hell of a moment for me to see Chambers get that spot and finally like arrive. So I'm proud of him, man. It's going to be a hell of a year for him and Crash Jackson, who's like a buddy. They came up together, so I'm excited for Crash.
That's awesome, Trent. I don't know. I mean, sure, people tell you, but you're from us. You're doing a phenomenal job. You should know that. And thank you so much for. I know gave you like a couple days head notice, but thanks so much for jumping on. We love you.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. I'm serious. Set up Trent and Steve, the big face-off, the biggest feud in Chicago wrestling, and who has made more appearances on Two Heels and a Face. And we'll literally count it on air, and then we'll just duke it out. Friendly, though. It's a positive.
I'm opening the Trello board now. I'll put it as a task. We'll get something done.
For sure.
Thank you, Trent.
Thanks.
Have a good one. Hopefully see you next Friday.
Yes, let me know, man. Let me know.
All right. Take care.
Holy shit, dude. This makes me feel good. All these people wanted to join and say something. I mean, we can't be too bad at this, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely it was good to kind of catch up, and pressure's on, Charlie. I mean, next Friday, last show of the year, AAW.
I gotta see. I am going to one of those New Year's cabins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you tend to do for New Year's, right? Like you've done it.
Yeah. You know, the pressure is on. I did. That's why I tried to write some very AAW Pro friendly articles. I wrote. the JLMT preview recap. I've been doing some. If I can't physically visualize and be there, we supplement with some writing. So we try to get people over in different ways, for sure.
And I think it's for me, like, it'll be a good, like, I think I have that Friday night off, and I'll coordinate something. So I think I might make it out there. I think it feels right just because I don't have much going on that week. So again, it's all about, going to shows that you can, and it feels right. So why not pushing myself too hard here, but yeah, it's cool to have talked to Steve, to talk to Val, to talk to Trent. Like it feels like yeah, definitely I hadn't seen them or talked to them in a while, so it does feel like we're picking up where we left off. So
we foster a community here. We try to, and we are involved. These people that we're on don't necessarily talk to each other. Obviously, Steve and Trent are going to do the big face off, but
2023.
Yes, 2023 face off. But we try to spread the love. We do. Wrestling is a buffet. We just witnessed 3 parts of the buffet line. There are many more out there. I think we've built something in 5 years that's been great, and we can continue to do it. We'll continue to help where we can. I mean, and we don't have somewhere to ask us, unless you tell me if I'm wrong, unless someone were to be like, where do you want this podcast to go in 5 years? I wouldn't have an answer to that. I'd be like, I'm just kind of focused on what's the thing we got. What's this next story we can tell?
I think the hardest thing that I've struggled with, because it feels like we built the podcast around is consistency.
Yeah.
Like we've always been consistent. Once we, after like maybe like episode 7, 6, whatever it was, where we kind of like, all right, here's where we're going with this.
And we went to a lot of fucking shows when we first started going. It was an unhealthy amount, in my opinion. But like we were I wasn't regretting any of it. I was like, let's go.
Yep. Yeah. We attended many shows. We kept the weekly cadence for a long time. So that's been the hard part, as of the last month or two, where it's like we haven't been as consistent, but like looking forward to 2023 and not saying that our consistency is bi-weekly. I think that's more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely looking forward to that. And again, we'll go to shows that we can, and if we can't, it's something that I've learned from you is like not to stress over things like that. Because I definitely like was pushing myself to make sure I went to every show, and you just can't, right? Like there's family for sure, and other things that sometimes take precedent over the things that we enjoy doing. Which I'm not saying that I don't enjoy being with my family, but like you definitely want that time off at times,
Yeah, I think that you gotta be realistic about the amount of energy you can give to different things.
Yeah.
And I know you're like I said, you're a people pleaser at heart, but it's hard to satisfy every person. It's impossible to satisfy every person. So I think it was natural to slow it down, and we just got to find a consistent cadence that we're comfortable with. That's the plan for 2023. Stick to our commitments, try to produce some good stuff, try to scratch our creative itch. The fantasy booking writing thing, like I've had that idea in my jaw rustling around in my brain, and it just feels good to write it down and get it out, even if no one reads it or whoever reads it. Like I know we're gonna try to talk to Vega in the future, so it'll be interesting to see like his perspective on it. But like it's the stuff like that keeps me going. It's stuff like that like just makes me want to. Yeah, I get a creative sense of fulfillment, so to speak. So pair the creative sense of fulfillment with a consistency of consumption that you're comfortable with. There's a lot of C words, and I think we'll find that happy medium for Two Heels and a Face, and we'll still be able to help people in certain ways.
Yep, and one of the things that, as like I said, I struggle with the whole like, damn, like we're not being consistent, but I also don't have the time. And there'll be times where I'll kind of feel that stress, but I also like another podcast that my camera just froze. So
you did. It's okay. I can still hear you.
Okay, cool. A podcast that we're friends with or whatnot is Marty and Sarah. They actually just decided to take a break too.
Yeah, it happens, like that's that's life. It's just we're human beings, and we're not made to necessarily go all the time. Sometimes we need to recharge in certain ways, or we take absence make the heart grow fonder. So we take a break and then we miss it a little bit and then we come back. So I don't know what they're going through. It might be something like that,
Hey, at the end of the day, like you have to make those calls and figure out what's best for you. And hey, like at the end of the day, like we said initially, right? Like we don't want this to feel like we have to do this or it's a job or it's whatnot. Like it's fun. It's our creative outlet. So
yeah.
I'm appreciative of you of being supportive every step of the way for sure. And making this a reality. And like you said today, like we've been doing this for 5 going on 6 years or something like that.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
I'm very crazy proud to think about. Yeah.
Very proud of our body of work, honestly. I'm proud of it. And like I said, it's not like we're not like, oh, we've been doing it for 5 years. Shouldn't we be like making money? Like that thought that never goes through our mind. We're just proud to like tonight was the payoff because we had someone come on. I texted them like 20 minutes before they came on. They're like, sure, yeah, I'll come on. Like that is like really cool. And we just talked wrestling. Like that is like so fulfilling, We've built that.
Yep. And now we have 23 to look forward to.
Yeah.
So.
What did you think of the top 25 list, though? Is there anything you're egregiously pissed about in terms of ranking? Like, I know Kylie is on the list. I put her near the end of the list.
We're not going to give out numbers just yet because the list is not out.
The list is not officially out, but I put her near that because I'm looking at 2022 as a whole. And like, she was around, yes, a little bit more. She was a little bit more like specialty. Like Kylie is wrestling on the show. She's going. We're going to bring in someone
say,
like
she's
to wrestle her.
She's not like, oh, it's the best year she's had so far. Like none of that. She participated in the year. She made her impact, but not.
I know I'm going to get dragged for that placement, and it's unofficial. But I know for where she is.
Fair.
You don't think I'm going to get dragged by the Kylie faithful for that placement?
I mean, they might want her here as number one, but I think if you even ask Kylie, like, she's not number one right now. She's number one in our hearts, but as body
number one in our hearts,
not.
and it's really cool that she's on main event. Congrats to her. But I tried to look at the promotions we cover from a full year's body of work was kind of
right. I mean, you gave it away with Robert. Well, you gave it away earlier. Robert Anthony. I don't know about Frank the Clown, but you gave Robert Anthony number one, which I think I think it's fair, dude. And honestly, like after we did the Buffet line with Robert, I became a faithful listener of his podcast.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed that body of work.
Yeah. It's been a really awesome listen.
Together. And oftentimes we talk about these. I mean, here we are in a minute and 45 here. I mean, an hour and 45, but we also talk about like lengthy podcasts that are not that easily to digest. He goes on pretty lengthy ones as well. And I honestly like his insight, his perspective, his guests, the stories that come out of that Robert Ego Anthony podcast. What is it?
Potting with Ego.
Potting with Ego. But that one of the things about you is like I don't know what's on YouTube and what's not on YouTube sometimes.
Okay.
But again, like he's pumping out content and I think it's great. I've enjoyed it a lot. So that body of work outside of the wrestling stuff that he's doing, I think it's great.
Yeah, what's cool about his podcast is he has such a unique perspective, and we will never do the backstage. It is kind of like dirt.
He can do it because he's there.
Yes, he can do it because he's there and he's earned the right to talk about what happens backstage. We have not.
If we have an interaction with X wrestler or whatever, it's not like we're going to come here and talk about that.
Correct.
Like, that's not what we do.
We've known stuff that we have not repeated on air and we won't repeat on air. That's not what we do. We're the little bit more friendly, happy-go-lucky version of that. But it's very interesting. He doesn't do it to drag people's name through the mud. He just does it in like a very almost professional way, but it's still behind the curtain stuff for sure, which is still really cool because it's cool to hear the history of AAW. It's cool to hear his personal story about like how he battled with losing his dream and like stuff like that. It's not cool that he lost his dream, but it's just like really.
But it's cool to see the upside of that story now, where he's committed to being that selfless veteran in the locker room now.
Yeah,
and putting people over and guiding people and all that stuff. The recent episode, it might not be the latest one, but the one before that, I don't know if you listened to it. It's so Joe Alonso makes a comeback. He's definitely, his name has not been utilized under the greatest light, over the past few years.
Sure.
And he's definitely been a mentor to Joe Alonso, and now Joe Alonso signed a contract with NWA, and so did Missa Kate. So congrats to them.
Congrats to them.
They put in their work, and again, having somebody mentor you like Robert Ego has been super influential for them, and I'm just glad that people are kind of making their dreams reality, while at the same time us as fans just kind of sitting back and watching that journey. It's pretty cool to just kind of see.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, man, we did it almost 2 hours, and I felt entertained the whole time. I hope that maybe the listeners that I didn't feel like we were really dragging or anything. And next week, hopefully by the end, the goal is by the end of the new year to try to get the Chicago's Top 25 2022 out, and then obviously get this podcast out and promote it. But yeah, we've set our commitments earlier in the podcast, but I guess we're just looking forward to 2023. I mean, we guys still got some people that want to talk to us. So like I said, we can't
hey, that's a good thing.
Everything wrong.
All right, Charlie. Well, this is it for Two Heels and a Face for 2022. You can find us at twoheelsandaface.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Two Heels and a Face, number 2 Heels and a Face. Any final words here for this end of year review?
No, I mean, I'm just great. I'm just grateful, man. I think this was.
Hey, shout out to Chico. Where's Chico on the list?
Chico's on the list. No, Chico is on the list. No, he's on the list.
Okay, I'll leave it as a mystery. I'll find them eventually.
Oh wait,
okay,
no.
I see. I
didn't play.
I think Chico has had a better year than, but
okay, we can maybe put.
We'll
like I said, look. I don't want this to just be from my head. If you got opinions, maybe do your list on the right hand side, and then maybe we'll come up with a middle.
There you go.
I'm open for it. Like, I'm not saying this is not Charlie's list. This is Two Heels and Faces list. I just made it last year because busyness and stuff. But like, you put your impression on it, dog. Chico's on the list. Chico is in the list. Yes, confirmed.
All right, confirmed.
Viva Chico. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll leave off with that. Hashtag Viva la Chico.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for I'm just grateful. It's just been fun. I want to continue to do more stuff and unique stuff. So we'll just keep doing that. Be different. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.